Yeah, I got used to the idea of saying I have Parkinson's disease fairly quickly, because for 18 years before I got that medication, I displayed all of the classic symptoms, which was uncontrollable shaking, stiff joints, bad posture, difficulty walking. So when the diagnosis came, which was only about a year ago, it was something of a challenge, but not exactly a shock. One of the things you can do, one of the low-risk groups, is people who drink caffeine in vast quantities. In fact, you'd have to drink so much caffeine, you'd probably end up shaped like a coffee bean, and you know, shaking so hard that Parkinson's probably wouldn't seem like such a bad idea after all. At least with Parkinson's, your skin doesn't turn yellow, and you do get some sleep at some point. Now, obviously, drinking vast quantities of caffeine, not everybody's idea of a good time, but don't panic, because there's something else you can do to reduce the risk. You can smoke. My people. Yeah, so basically, this is all stacking up rather well for the French, really. To be fair, Parkinson's is generally seen in older people. If you're 50 years or older, your chances of developing it are about 1 in 40. If you're younger than 50, the odds are a lot smaller. I personally first showed signs at about the age of 22. But then again, I've always been an early developer. Mother was so proud. My boy. It's just that I came to the diagnosis of Parkinson's in what the medical profession term a very arse-about-face kind of way. You see, I didn't have the normal journey of symptoms, diagnosis, medication. My journey was a little bit different. I had those symptoms for those 18 years, and then through a process of trial and error, I was given medication and we found something that worked for me. And it worked so well that that then pointed in the direction of a diagnosis. Now, another thing that I really enjoyed about that shaking time was sightseeing. It was a real passion for me going sightseeing before the medication, because I just loved those precious moments when some complete stranger would come running up to me and go, "Hey, can you take a photograph of our group?" And I'd be like, "Hell yes!" You see, I don't miss people saying stupid stuff like, "Oh, calm down, relax." But I do miss telling them to fuck off. It's going to be. And that there wasn't going to be any change. I wasn't expecting change. So, you know, I just come to terms with it. I decided that I just had to crack on as best I could. Then came the medication. And there are many bonuses about it. One of the things I enjoy most now is scrunching my toes in the carpet. You know, like Die Hard, the first Die Hard film? And he's on, and he's on the plane, and he's dead tense because he doesn't like flying. And the guy sat next to him goes, "Look, when you get to where you're going, get your shoes and socks off, scrunch your toes in the carpet. It feels great." And I remember watching that and thinking, "Oh, that looks great. I would love to do that." But my toes were clawed back because of the Parkinson's. I couldn't stretch them out, so I couldn't do it. So I just had to look on in envy and maybe try my hands and see if that worked. But now I can do it. And every day I'll find a carpet, not in my house. I'll just go into some, you know, big hotel or something, take your shoes and socks off and just sit there scrunching my toes, my eyes crossing. You know, there's nothing, it's completely without, you know, a price. And this drug, it's great, it's done wonderful things, but it's not a cure. If I take the pills 3 times a day. If I miss one time, it starts to come back within a couple of hours. So I really am living this close to it. The change that the drugs brought on is welcome. On this side of the change, I'm happy. But for a while there, the transition was difficult. It wasn't just, oh great, this has happened. There was something more to it. You see, I remember the exact moment when the medication changed my life. On this occasion, I went in and I made my order, paid my money, they made the coffee, and then they put it down on the counter in front of me. And I stared at them. And they looked back at me. And then it dawned on me. I'm not shaking. Because what this miracle seemed to be saying was, here you go. On top of all of everything else, on top of all this other stuff, here's what you've lost for the last 18 years. Have a taste of what's been stolen from you. 18 years gone that you'll never get back. There could have been so much more, so much better. You'll never know. But here, how does it feel now? Now, I suppose when you consider that the effects of Parkinson's are made worse by stress and anxiety, and that I had no head for heights, volunteering on a tall ship may seem like something of an odd pastime. That's me in the middle, the guy with no head for heights. Now, don't get me wrong, there are limits to what I can do. You know, I've never bought into this whole tree-hugging inspirational fantasy that if you really believe and you really want something bad enough and you try as hard as you can do anything. No, you can't. If you don't believe me, just watch the X Factor auditions. But I have always enjoyed a challenge. And here on the ship was an environment where I could really test myself and push myself to see what I personally was actually capable of. So, you know, I'm back, I'm performing, and life is good. I'm back doing this, and when I'm not doing this, I fill my time with Zebu and climbing and swords and pirates and madness. And recently, I was given my explosive certificate. By Merseyside Police. You can imagine how long it took that piece of paperwork to go through. But the Chief Constable of Merseyside decided that I am a right and fit and proper person to be left in charge of such stuff. I'm basically, really, I guess, for my own entertainment, I'm really just looking for ways to keep my doctor on his toes. Every time a letter comes across his desk from whoever with my name on it asking about my condition, I just want him to look at it and think, what the hell is he doing now?